to the Football Shirt Pod. We are back again, but in actually very different surroundings to our usual horn. I was going to say nicer surroundings, but I think that would be a bit unfair because the plough in Harlesden is our usual. That's very harsh. That. Just different. But we're in Harry Brown, London, in Oxford Street, a very fine tailors, where we've been invited to come in and film and to talk about football fashion. And we are all together again, the four of us. It's a joy to be joined by you all. Introduce yourselves for those who have never watched or seen you before. Merce, you go first.
Merce, landlord of the pub that we normally shoot in, but obviously today we are in good surroundings. So
the seat's nicer, isn't it?
The seats,
it's comfy.
Very daytime TV feel, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm into it. This is it. The new Good Morning Britain.
Yeah.
Team.
Can you imagine?
Here we are.
Yeah.
He turned on and we were there.
Christ. Yeah, with Primark in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luis. Be delighted to join for a few pods. Work at Calm, campaign against living miserably, which the boys and girls at Cult Kits always support. So thanks as always for that. And yeah, luckily a football fanatic.
Tell us about the shirt you're wearing as well.
So whether you're watching or listening, it's South Korea's away kit, I think, for the World Cup. So it's that Nike template.
Did they wear it?
I think they did at the very last game, but it's very much the game no one saw. So I think it was Cult Kits number 2 shirt of last year. Got to shout out the person that gave it to me. Went to visit Palaman, lives in the Middle East. When I arrived for the morning of South Korea playing Uruguay, he had got me one of these, and we went straight to a South Korean karaoke bar. Sanjay Malik.
What a guy.
He won't be watching, but if anyone knows him, he'd be the real deal. Yeah. So we went out in matching South Korea shirts. So that's what I've got on.
David from Cult Kits, one of the directors.
Nice little wave there, Davey.
to my 700 followers on Instagram. 700. Some which I think are bots. Not those
the ones
bots.
with the numbers, I think. Cool. Okay, we're good to be back, and it's nice to be here. And it does give us a sort of a theme of debate or discussions for today, which is about football and fashion. I guess we are in a tailor's, and
it's beautiful as well.
It's lovely here. It really is.
Smells
great.
Good,
yeah. But I suppose the sort of ultimate, I guess, the infamy is most associated with that Liverpool 1996 suit.
So we're getting that out of the way
Let's just get it out of the way, I think. Let's just talk about it now and get it out of the way.
Because everyone knows the stories.
Everyone knows the stories, yeah.
The Ferguson's point of view on it. See them over there.
Been talked about a lot, hasn't it?
But they look good.
Do you think? I don't know. I don't think history
It suits you, David James's. Exactly. It doesn't suit you, Jason McAteer's.
No.
Collingwood looks good.
Yeah.
Collingwood's also got that thing. I don't know, nostalgia comes up so much of us, but he's got those Oakley sunglasses, like the slightly posher kid at school had. He's got them, and there's that metal frame, and they're coming back. But they've got the bins are. But so there's a bit of that obviously coming back, but it's widely seen as the worst.
Because obviously, so David James was an Armani model, wasn't he?
Yes,
They're Armani suits.
Because they're Armani suits on it, yeah.
He's the reason, I think, isn't he? Do you think Armani just forgot that Rob Jones, Mark Wright, and
Neil Ruddock,
Ian Rush, Neil Ruddock were in that squad? Do you think when they saw them walk out of Wembley, they thought, oh shit?
Yeah,
forgot about them,
100%.
Possibly.
Too right. I did.
But do you think Harry Brown felt like that when we walked in today?
Yeah.
100%.
What are they doing?
Oh, okay.
I did. A few years ago, I was like a lot heavier than I am now, and I did Razor Ruddock in that suit as a fancy dress. I look fucking hideous. So like, imagine what he looked like.
Yeah.
Bad.
What I will say, presume this will come out, also a Liverpool fan, is there's an interesting perspective on them. Obviously known as Spice Boys, but they were part of an era of sort of nearly men as well. So I don't know, 91, 92, obviously Premier League starts. Liverpool haven't won the league since then, and obviously 96 then, but 97's only like 6 years later. Like, I know that's obvious maths in it, but what I mean is they had to wait.
We got there.
Always education.
But what I'm saying is they had to wait 30 years. But in 97, so the next year, United win the league, don't they? But there's 3 games with 4 games to go. They play each other. Liverpool were top. No, they weren't top. They're 1 point behind, but if they'd won 2 points up. But if they win, they go top with 3 games to go, and it's that that sense of things that mark those eras that laughable to a point, because fuck all was one for quite 2001 was big, but certainly the league for a long time. But those suits are that Cantona returning goal and a win at Old Trafford or a win at Anfield away from it being a bit less embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's about as good an argument as I've got from as I can.
If they won, would we? We would be thinking differently about it.
Yeah.
There's some nice stories about the players didn't know the suit was
really? I didn't know that.
colour until 2 days before. So they got fitted in, and the suits they wore for their fittings were navy blue. So they all thought they were wearing navy blue suits, and then 2 days before they opened their suit
Because the staff on there is the same, were they?
Yeah, I don't think the managers in that were.
No. Yeah, they were. Do they wear grey?
God, imagine Roy Evans in that.
Oh God, that's sickly, isn't it?
Sickly.
That's right. Yeah, strange one. I think the other thing was some lovely quotes from Ferguson about, or attributed to Ferguson from that game when he saw them turn up. He told Brian Kidd, he was like, "What the fuck do they look like? We're going to win this 1-0."
Yeah.
And so it proved.
Yeah.
I think that kind of suit and that.
Another thing Alex Ferguson was right about.
Well, he did get some things right, yes. Another thing about that, but that sort of suit is a really good example of the confusing era that was the 90s and and fashion sort of crashing into football a little bit at that time. Probably for the first, not for the first time, but in a way that was more sort of it was Armani, wasn't it? It was like obviously a huge fashion house and wanted to be associated with football. But that was a weird. The 90s for me was a sort of an odd time for footballers and what they wore. Because I just remember going to games and sometimes we were hanging around after the game. This is an Ipswich game. I'd see the players would start to come out if you were in the club shop for a while or whatever, and they'd often be wearing these very sort of bright coloured, like woolen blazers with like very large slacks, And it's like I don't know if it was a bit of a turning point. Obviously, it was for sort of football in this country anyway, but whether it was a bit of a turning point for football and fashion too.
Well, I think there was an early sign of what was to come in that early stage of the 90s, just before the start of the Premier League and in the very early years of the Premier League, where they were obviously either told to dress smartly, but they could wear what they wanted. So you get these, if you look back through the archives of any kind of footballers leaving the grounds, like you said, particularly like around 91, 92, they've got those coloured jackets, massively oversized, they don't fit them. Yeah. They've got a really tight collar, but it's a long cut.
Yeah. Really wide
and
ties.
Or they've got a really thin tie that doesn't match and makes them look even wider. Or they've got a really wide one. And then they've got really mismatched trousers. And in some cases, they're wearing jeans because you can see some of them have gone a bit edgy. And then they're wearing smart shoes with it. It's almost like someone's gone to a lost property box.
But do you think it's interesting when you mention it
Yeah.
and the timings and when you mention the Premier League? Because I suppose it's player profile that goes sort of cyclically. And obviously, it wasn't about, it's only like archive footage or whatever. But if you imagine that George Best was railing against something for individualism, the foot beating and all that sort of thing, but his profile became bigger than maybe the team in the late 60s and 70s, or he wanted it to, or you're even in a Cosmos shirt, aren't you? And like, but what I mean is like, he steps out of the footballing light, and I think in the 90s, so Italy, the biggest league, maybe synonymous with fashion and whatnot, but the money goes probably there first. And in the Prem, you've now got to have players where, through agents and like their stature, profile's big. So how are you going to do that? Well, that walk from the bus to the dressing room, what are you going to be in? Are you going to be wearing something slightly different in that interview? Are you going to be attached to fashion? So David James started it. Obviously, the decade finishes with probably Beckham, but Giggs was doing loads of stuff as well. And I wonder if like
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're cyclical. Yeah. And that cyclical nature of when football sort of plateaus, then someone puts their head above it, and being garish is important, because some of the kits sort of went that way as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
When we've spoken before, like names, squad numbers, names on the back, that's more individualism. Yeah. And those 90s kits, especially after the TV saturation, that they're going a bit. It's a bit more garish than it would have been sort of 10 years before as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Particularly, I mean, our business partner Rob he labelled me an Umbro pervert, a 90s Umbro pervert, which.
To be fair,
not
a bad thing to be branded.
I guess so. Yeah. But we were talking about that era of the kits. I mean, the one that you're wearing now is an example of that. Yeah. Early 90s, and that.
What is that, Joshi?
Yeah, just a Napoli. I don't know if was it the away or the third shirt?
Napoli third.
With this, it's a good point to describe it. Yeah, it's the red one with the sort of Spurs. Spurs had the yellow.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, same season.
Kind of fit on the shoulder.
There's quite a few clubs that shared that template, and the garish I guess you could call it garish, patterns and everything else that emerged as a result of it.
Yeah.
Is an extension of what's happening in the fashion world anyway. It's just like, how can you make your kit stand out even more?
Yeah.
Therefore, put your club on the map.
It was definitely because obviously more money coming into the game as well, and it's like footballers were obviously where they were dressing was going to change, and a bit like you remember like in the 80s, footballers would often have cars that had their names on the side that were given to them basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the
local
name of the
dealer.
gallery.
But I was going to say it's the local dealer.
It's still in rugby league that still
It's
happens.
still a thing. Well, they
Does
actually
it?
have
Yeah,
their names.
so when I go home in St Helens, there's a player that I see driving an Audi, and it's
God.
X name. I'm not going to name who it is. Name and the local Audi dealer on the side.
What's
like,
the name of the Audi dealer?
Yeah.
St Helens Audi dealer.
Which weirdly we'll be filming from next week.
We're going to do a driver Audi.
Freezing, just wait for it.
Yeah. But that's the same thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
there was just more money coming to the game. Do you think, obviously the foreign influence of we were all aware of in terms of we're talking about the Premier League here from sort of mid-90s onwards. Do you think that had an influence on fashion as well, maybe?
I think to a degree, but not hugely.
No.
I don't know.
Like Viali turning up all sophisticated.
Well, that's about Hullet and Viali.
Yeah, but I think the fashion anyway is like you could say it emerges at some point.
But I wonder if it's you're right. Obviously, in general, and it can't be dictated necessarily by like one industry, maybe in the fashion industry. But having a Viali and a Hullet come into the league, and when they go out and talk about stuff, that dictates. That's an element of coolness, and there's that attractive. What was sort of foreign to a point is attractive not only with the medals and what's in the cabinet that they bring, but that's you sort of go towards it. I mean, you mentioned. With all due respect, Rob Jones and whatnot, they're not going the other way, and someone's going, I tell you what, your brown belt and your brown shoes are nice. I know, but I was thinking, but in that sense, that I suppose they're successful, so being like them is aspirational. So if they're making certain brave decisions or that are different, a few English boys and British boys would go, I'll have a bit of that, and that's what profiles heighten.
I think the big thing for me, everything with that just links back to Cantona. He was on the runway. He was all over the news. If you think we're just talking about earlier, nearly the anniversary of him kicking that geezer.
Yeah.
In the press when he comes over, he's got this unbelievable thick black leather jacket. High black turtleneck.
Yeah.
And he was the first one to sort of. I think for me, he's the first Premier League foreign star. And then if you think collar, just even putting the collar up, nobody else did that.
Yeah.
It's that individualism.
I can vividly remember watching an early football focus, and he'd not that long been at Manchester United. And I was with my granddad and my dad. And I can remember my dad saying he just oozes class, and he wasn't really doing anything other than giving it, just the way he held himself and probably what he was wearing. And that kind of stayed with my dad. Like he always used to bang on like what a fantastic player he was. Whereas a lot of people actually really disliked him because there was that horrible, I guess, older generation who were like, I don't want foreigners playing in the leagues, or limit the numbers, which made no sense to us. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was reading an interesting interview with, is it Inua, the guy who played for Man City and QPR? He was talking about sort of football and fashion. And he was saying that in the sort of kind of late noughties, early 2010s, actually a lot of footballers, there was still a sort of thing in the dressing rooms where footballers would be given a hard time for what they wore, and so a lot of them were dressing kind of down a little bit, so they'd be like sort of safety outfits and like Nike tracksuits and stuff or whatever else. And there was a reference to a lovely story in the I think it was from the 80s when Forrest tried to sign Gary McAllister, which I didn't know was a thing, and apparently Clough didn't want to sign him because he turned up to the negotiations wearing cowboy boots.
And that
was the basis for not signing.
He's not for me. He's not for me.
Gary McAllister in cowboy boots.
Yeah, that's the. I love that thing. I'm most surprised about it.
Him doing them like really lovely corners.
Yeah. That's how we practice. So if you did it in boots, so we can.
Maybe if you'd taken that penalty against England. Cowboy boots, things might have been different. But anyway, so there was that era, and obviously the Crazy Gang era, where they used to cut everyone's clothes up and all that. That was like quite a masculine sort of brutal era, really, wasn't it? The sort of football came out of, and where there wasn't
the whole
like
initiation thing went from people getting the shit kicked out of them,
exactly,
to singing a song.
But that's an interesting thing, I think, of people full stop, and I know we've touched on it on the way here and whatnot. But what era you start sort of changing, I don't know, the way you dress and whatnot, but that's like fitting in's one thing, and then this seeking to try and be like an individual. It's weird that you don't connect it, and we'll always have, you know, elite footballers, especially the ones with teams we support, on a certain pedestal. But actually, imagine going into a dressing ground, into a training ground, a dressing room, whatever dough you're on, and thinking someone's going to rip me for my club. But it's really weird if you're thinking like you're an international and whatnot. I'm not saying that's happened to all of them, but it's interesting who raises to the top, who has that power, where the focus is in the dressing room, and it's still being a thing. You know, like I said, that crazy gang stuff. Fucking hell! Like, what, I mean, well, whatever you're going to wear is going to be sort of chopped up by some brute from Wales with number 4 on his back, but it could be anyone. But
that's a fair point. What about some of the more recent stuff with, you know, obviously AC Milan recently with the was it the off-white suits they had with their numbers on the back? I don't know about that.
Shite, isn't it?
Shite, basically. Yeah, it's probably more honest.
Not it's not for me.
And Man City's slightly odd. I can't remember. Mercy, you were talking about. I said I can't remember who the brand is that they worked with for that.
Just some of the, like Pep over the last few years. So do you remember that cardigan? Like it looked like his lounging cardigan. Like I can't remember what brand it was, but it's fucking horrible.
His partner, isn't it? His wife's involved in the fashion industry, so it's often like a
she
sort
should
of
get out of it.
Yeah, it's like an extension of what sort of she does. But all of that connection to clubs, Barca have them with that denim brand, and it's like at the absolute top, like when they were, you know, I think even as early back as 2009, but definitely in the next sort of 3 years, like treble winning seasons. I can't remember the name now, but again, it's not Harry Brown London. But it was the connection they had. But they like, they're obviously beyond it. They're awful. But I know, put myself in Messi's shoes. Same initials.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah. Might feel like a stretch, but if I had to put that on in the morning, I'm going to be crap tonight. It's in front of 70,000 people.
It's a distraction you
Yeah,
don't need.
definitely.
United under Fergie would always go to. You could wear your own gear to the. Sorry about mentioning Fergie. But you could wear your own gear to the home games, but away you had to wear the club suit, and it was the whole ethos and value of look at how serious we are, look at how good we look, and because they never wanted to feel that way of look at the state of me in this. It just makes such a big difference to your performance and so on as well.
And then in 2005, they went out in those the famously pictured boys out in the town in Manchester wearing, I don't know, I mean, look it up, Google it.
Unbelievable gear.
Look
in
it
that.
up.
Serious
Look,
gear.
I knew this was coming as well, but that is what let's talk about it. So it's meant the younger men.
We fume about it.
But the younger men who know what they're doing and a couple of pals and run pubs. But honestly, it's all back.
All that whole look.
Back. The shoes, the baggy stuff, that's back.
Yeah,
but
O'Shea, I think is it O'Shea's the one where he's got like browns and.
Oh yeah, he's loving it around East London at the moment. But but all that's back. Yeah, that's
John O'Shea revival.
Yeah, he can't believe his luck. Yeah. But yeah, objectively though, I mean, it's
that was a bad time for fashion anyway.
But is that our fault?
Horrible.
We had a brief chat earlier.
Yeah.
Because we can name that spot. You can name that spot where you first.
With that clothes,
Whether you got a couple of quid, like 14,
reason,
15, fancy yourself a bit. Yeah. And we're looking at Northampton.
So there was, do you remember Madhouse in it?
St Helens, great shot.
So you went, if you had about 20 quid, 2 pairs of jeans and a t-shirt.
And all the other fellas are in there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Awful fashion.
Yeah.
Awful fashion.
So I sometimes think it wasn't necessarily our fault because there was limitations of where you could go.
Yeah.
But also, like, for what we do, I said it to Mess earlier, you go from wearing football kits from... As soon as you get a choice, if you bang into football from the age of 4 or whatever, then you hate them and you bang out of them and you want to go to, what's it called again? Madhouse. And then especially us 4 end up back in fucking football kits later on. So the only thing was, it was. So as a child, it's like, I don't want to be in football kits anymore, Madhouse. And then we've turned out the 4 of us back into football kits. But that choice of, and they're formative years, but you just never expect it from the Prem lot. But then those frayed jeans are...
You know, you talk about being a kid. Just wearing kits all the time.
Yeah.
We've got a mutual friend, Harrison, who's one of the best football players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He went to his first game at Highbury in full Arsenal kit and shinnies.
And shin bags.
About 8 years old. And I was
as if they might give him a game.
Confident boy.
We've underestimated the bench. Is anyone here ready
George
to play?
Graham's like, oh God, I don't think Ray Paul or Paul Merson's going to do the job today.
Stefan Schwartz.
Is there an 8-year-old Harrison Midder who can come on? Yeah, bring him on.
Shin pads is too much. I get the full kit, but the shin pads.
But are
are
they
too
big
much.
old Cumberson shin pads?
Oh, yeah,
With
what about
With
Yeah.
ankle support.
Yeah. They're huge.
horrible
Yeah.
things.
I
The Sondico shin
I
pads.
will ask him if he was wearing his boots. I can't have wore his boots to there, could he?
No.
Yeah, my dad always used to tell me, wherever you go, take your boots. Not literally wherever I go, but anything was football
School.
associated, take your boots with you. And it was
Toilet.
a couple of times where it actually came in handy.
This
Not
is
Ipswich.
great. What, genuinely, and like you would?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was now. Like I think this is probably I'm going to cut this out. But I used to play for a different team on a Saturday. And a lot of my mates play for this other really shit village team.
Right.
And I always used to want to go play there because I thought I could score goals for them.
Yeah.
And everyone's a striker at that age, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone.
I wasn't allowed to for some reason because this crap village club wasn't properly affiliated with the FA. But I used to go and watch my mates and dad go, take your boots, you might get it. Sometimes I did,
Yeah.
It's great.
That's
Shot
good.
me. So, there is that. And Ipswich, there used to be, this is completely nothing to do with...
Are you cutting that out because they're not affiliated to the FA?
Yeah.
No.
Because you keep calling them
He doesn't want to
crap.
offend people.
Yeah, like grass them in.
He's labelling
You
a
used
past
the word
team
crap a
crap.
fair few times, given that they don't like
No.
it.
Good club.
Or you've labelled yourself a striker.
Yeah,
Proper football club.
proper.
No, I just just sort of personal nostalgia really. I don't think this is any value to anyone other
Certainly
than
is.
myself. But Ipswich have got, and they used to have to. Well, it's still there actually. The practice pitch is next. I don't know if you've been to Portman, the practice pitch is next to the stadium.
Right.
So the back of one of the side stands, you walk out and there's a pitch there. And so I used to take my boots. It used to be a grass pitch. It was awful, and now it's 4G or whatever. Yeah. And I remember when I was 11, Ipswich played Newcastle at home. Newcastle, Keegan just taken over Newcastle. Big game. Ipswich trying to get promoted to the Premier League. And at half time, I don't know why, there were loads of Newcastle fans out there. Obviously, they sold out the away end probably and then the home end. And I just remember playing football with these three pissed up Newcastle. My dad watching, probably getting a beer himself. Me playing football with these three, and I was 10. These three 20-something drunk Geordies, and it was the first time I'd heard the word cunt in Geordie. And basically, this guy shot. He tried to save it. He stood on my ball, and he slid over, fell on his ass, and he went, "You fucking cunt!" And I thought that is brilliant.
That's
I was
nice,
like,
yeah.
Dad, you're not going to believe what I've just heard. Anyway. Where were we?
I don't know. This is worse than one of his stories. It's complete railroading.
I need to touch back on and to link sort of Merseyside or Liverpool to, and I mentioned the 90s, but that idea of how people looked and started dressing, go into the football and how it permeated with stuff, and sort of just trainers in general was a real flip sort of culturally and sort of sartorially, and a lot of it sort of happening that what went from I suppose terrorist fashion to casual culture and whatnot. It's an interesting one where there's what we remember seeing footballers in those moments. And obviously, I mean, it's why we're here. There's big business to be made out of it, in both, keeping hold of it and keeping things clean and non-bobbly, but things that are being remade and all the reissues. But if you think back to, switching, and I know we're now in a very sort of smart environment making suits, and then people sort of dovetail between the two. And I think that time in the 70s when they decided to be more casual and having that release definitely started with going to football. And when you were talking about those suits with United, we once did a little film with Dan Sanderson, who sort of started with Gal and whatnot. And we were talking to him about fashion and whatnot, and he spoke about like the uniform. And so even if it's like United suit, but that sense of, those trainers, and I want those, and we stick together, and everyone asks.
Support groups. Arsenal were really well known for it, weren't they? Their fans really well known, like that. Certain fashions are adopted. Up in the north.
And that's it, and that's community. That's us. That's our vibe, and we're going, and we wear the same gear, and we want it, or we save a few quid to have whatever, and that's your community, and your mate's uniform is a really important thing.
Liverpool and Everton all comes from being in Europe and just going over and buying all the traps and all that sort of stuff.
Sergio Tacchini and all those.
Wade Smith was like the legendary one in Liverpool where that's where you go and get your trainers from. And I can always remember being in school and getting to go to Liverpool for the day and going to the big massive Wade Smith, and it just being like the best day out to just go and get trainers or a jacket or whatever. It's so good.
And it being dead different.
That was the thing, wasn't it? They were all going abroad all the time and just.
It's a statement to say that you're into football as well, isn't it? As much as anything else.
And that you've been somewhere.
Yeah.
I know we've touched on it before, even while saying, well, what was one of them Oakley glasses? I'm old enough to remember.
Still got mine.
You're right, but this is it. But you're old enough to
Bring 'em for
remember
the
where
next one.
someone had to have gone to America, to get it. And I was talking about the Raiders before, but someone had to have gone to those matches to have some sort of Neapolitan joint, or
that's now. You look at any football shirt, lifestyle shoot, and they've got the big cycling goggles on and all those Oakley sunglasses. That's all backs. It's all synonymous. Like just that little pinch of it. It's kind of make you look at the older fashions, particularly from the mid to late 90s, where, like you said, the fashion is very confused almost. People don't really know where they fit within it. Everything's oversized or just looks awful.
Yeah. People have got a bit of money but don't know how to spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're talking about that sort of late noughties, where the footballers are dressing a bit kind of like they wanted to be a bit sort of like grey men, basically. But and fashion generally then was absolutely awful, wasn't it? It was just horrible. Like, you look back now, there's no charm to it at all, is it? It's just bad, like really bad clothes. But the football kits were the same. Like, if we were to pick our best kits, none of them would come from between probably 2002 and 2018 or something. I know.
Very few. I would say very. There's a you probably count them on your hand that you could actually say they were really, really good.
Just the template area, isn't it, of everyone just being mass produced.
Comparing that to the decade before,
definitely. He's going to throw a curveball in.
No, I'm not, but only because it's come a couple of times. When we did the Premier League anniversary, still maintained that 04 has to, maybe this year, but 04 has to be Arsenal's best ever year. 08, United fans always say is theirs. And then Chelsea, maybe 2012 because of the Champions League, but that Mourinho year. So you actually still talk about a decade where 3 of the top current 5 teams in the country would have been at their peak ever. So it's weird sometimes that you don't, and I still also don't think we look back at that era and say, the football was boss as well. But obviously the kits weren't a lot more on, that's also when sponsors changed a lot, and we've discussed that, which is they're all almost entirely crap now. But what you said, Reg Vardy was on Sun, but what I mean is you're nowhere near that anymore. But it's weird to think that at the peak of the footballing powers is still an era you don't remember. And maybe sometimes it's because it is things like the kits weren't good enough, or you remember certain eras, not just nostalgia, but at the moment, the World Cup, amazing for kits and that. But actually, it's really important to have to visually connect what your team or what the league looked like, not just how good the football is or what the success is.
That era is weird, isn't it? Because my favourite kit from that is the 2006 Trinidad and Tobago World Cup kit.
You're going to give a bit of context.
No, regular fans. Either you're part of the cult kits cult, or welcome.
So there was a blog published on the Cult Kits website that was the best ever World Cup shirts. It wasn't written by either of us, and it was the Trinidad and Tobago 06. I'm sure you'll all remember it. Did come out.
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion piece. It's a game of opinions, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We should move on.
And 2 halves. Anyway,
we should move on.
Yes.
Okay.
Quick.
It's competition time on the Football Shirt Pod. If you want to win a £50 store voucher for cultkits.com, all you have to do is DM us on Instagram or Twitter the answer to this question. What colour was the kit that Liverpool wore in the 1996 FA Cup final? Think you know the answer? DM us to be in with a chance of winning a £50 store voucher for cultkits.com. Can we just talk about Messi and Ronaldo? How horrendous their dress sense is. Like the two, probably arguably the greatest players ever, but certainly top 5. Ronaldo, Messi, obviously
shocking.
Awful, just consistently bad. Like from the moment Ronaldo joined United, wearing that, I don't.
That jump was bad.
What is that? Who is that made by? I think it must be expensive, mustn't it?
Yeah, is it Armani?
Cut jeans.
Is that an Armani jumper?
It's got Armani.
She won't listen to this, but my partner, she's a real big fan of a jerkin. And that's what she calls them, but he's in one of them. And it's an
I was wondering where this is going.
Yeah, it's an absolute disgrace. Again, the chances of her hearing this is unbelievable. No, maybe the first 5 minutes and the last 5, but luckily this is bang in the middle. But yeah. And with 3 minutes to go, but it's that. But again, as in he just shouldn't have been in it. But it is the jumpery jerkin that's
horrible.
And really putting the jerk in it. Yeah.
I sent him a picture last night. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the kits they were both wearing last night in that game?
Yeah, awful.
That PSG one is hideous.
And that's the latest Jordan.
Don't get me started on that. But then the Ronaldo kit, that font on the number, and it's fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't know who the manufacturer. It's bizarre.
But you sometimes, I think you alluded to this before, that those, especially with their names on, so 7 Ronaldo, 30 Messi, no one will buy them, and then they become this old grail kit later on because so few people bought them, so they're never remade, and then people are after them in a few years' time.
Yeah, there's a reluctance, I guess, from the manufacturer to, obviously it's based on how many units are going to be sold, etc. So there's a reluctance, and then there's only a certain amount in circulation, and then depending on what happens in that season or something like that, then that's how a shirt can be sought after for a collector, not necessarily as a piece that people just want to wear. Or whatever. I think with the Jordan brand thing, it's because it's the Jordan brand thing.
Yeah.
They're immediate collectibles because people have that brand loyalty.
So buy
it's
your
not
crap
for me,
kits.
but I totally it's not for me, but or for us. So, but at the same time, it's, you know, if we got our hands on X amount of them, would we not sell them? Of course we would. But from a personal perspective, I would never want to buy or wear one.
Yeah.
Can we just go back to what my point was, which is Ronaldo, Messi. Okay.
Yeah.
Ronaldo has consistently throughout his career dressed really badly.
Yeah.
Consistently,
I think when you were saying earlier on about is it about them just wearing the most expensive items? It's like
just got no idea.
It's literally like that.
Messi, look at every Ballon d'Or he's ever won. Look what he's wearing.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
He wore some
So
kind of
bad.
Hugh Hefner smoking jacket.
Well, it's not Harry Brown of
burgundy
London.
jacket.
It's
He's
all
not
I know.
wearing Harry
It's
Brown.
not Harry Brown.
He
no.
should
He
do.
wishes he
Bloody
should.
bloody should do.
He should do. He'd look
right.
great in that.
Harry Brown of London, yeah.
We've got that little tiny one, haven't we, that he could get in?
I get it. No.
Neymar also. I mean, Neymar. It's probably dedicate an episode to Neymar, but just I don't know, weird.
Who's good then?
Sorry,
Who's
Who
good?
is good? That's a good question. Well, you tell me.
Again, I'd still go back to the understated things. I still think profile, people advising them, one, they've not, at the very highest level, they're not surrounded by a lot of people who are going, you look crap in that.
Yeah.
You know, because you make your own decision to a point. But I think it's the standing out. So I think, personal opinion, it would be someone sort of slightly understated who sort of came in.
You know who I thought looked amazing this year, and I can't tell you his name. Do you see the Japan manager at the World Cup?
Yeah, it all fit him,
Lovely
didn't it?
three-piece,
Yeah, and it fit him, didn't
slimline
it?
suit,
Yeah.
stunning.
Was it Harry Brown?
It was with Harry Brown.
Was it? Yeah.
Harry Brown of Tokyo.
Yeah, Harry Brown. Okay. But you're right, who is because I think, again, it's back to that profile. And this is awful for any sort of media, whether you're visual or audio, to not have an answer. But
I thought the England lot this year looked really,
they
really
looked
good.
right, didn't they? Yeah.
And the Welsh, and that's just Marks and Spencer, isn't it?
So we did a piece recently, Dugout Dandies, and the Japanese managers number 2, I think, possibly number 1. But you know, the likes of Scott Parker, he's come out with some absolute corkers.
Yeah. Wait, good. You're saying good or bad?
I think they're on a level.
I'm confused by
I think
that.
they're on the fence.
I like Pirlo. I know it's a really boring answer, but it's quite effortless.
Chunky
it
knit.
doesn't feel like he's put a lot of thought into it, but he just looks great. I mean, maybe just because he does look good.
So I would say that if he wore some of the same things as Scott Parker did,
Yeah.
would you be judging him? Would you be saying that looks really cool? No one else can pull that off because it's Pirlo. Because he's not wearing anything particularly.
Well, Scott Parker is now an international manager, isn't he? He's over in Belgium.
He's in the Champions League.
Yeah,
Club Brugge, yeah.
Got that gig.
So maybe we'll come back with a bit of flair.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll all be wearing cardigans with those
Those
straps
stripes on. Yeah, I hope so.
All right, that's good. Well, let's. David, you've got a couple of shiny packages.
Yeah,
with you.
two mystery
shirts,
kits.
as is always the way with the pod. Should we open them up?
Yeah. So, Merce, I'll give you this one.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much.
And Lucy, you can have that one.
No, you go first.
Is there any sort of theme here, or just
No,
two
they're
shirts?
just two
Public
amazing
bangs.
shirts. They're actually from our archive, so these aren't available.
Oh.
These particular shirts.
You said this with that cork shirt, and then somebody bought it, so you lied. So is this?
somebody
So the
buy a
cork
cork shirt?
shirt. So the cork shirt. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me defend myself and the business.
Here we go.
The cork shirt. We were pre-inundated with people saying,
Right,
"We want to buy it. We want to buy it,"
Okay.
and we've had the opportunity to potentially get another cork shirt. So it's
Okay.
like, well,
Oh wow.
we listen to our public.
We should go to Cork and film.
That'd be good. Looks lovely.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
What,
this,
wait on a minute. Can we just say what it is first?
yeah.
I'm not sure what year, but it's a Lazio home shirt, isn't it?
It is a Lazio home shirt.
And the
yeah.
banker
I've
di Roma.
I've not seen that shirt in that condition
That
for
is
a
really?
very,
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah.
Normally that's really, really faded.
Yeah.
Or there's some, the sponsor's just a nightmare.
Banker di Roma sponsor.
Yeah,
with
it's-
the
It is in
square
great shape, yeah.
flop. Was it flop?
And what year again, remind me,
I
David?
believe it's 93, 94.
93,
Might need to double check that.
Might be even
nice.
beyond. Because
Yeah,
they probably
might
had
even
a
be
couple of
later.
years into it. It was definitely around 94.
It's really confusing with these seasons as well because there's discrepancies in the make of it, and even though they're part of the same season. So
Oh, really?
And
yeah, but this
described
size?
yourself as an Umbro pervert earlier.
pretty much
There we
What
are.
size is it?
it's
M.
medium.
God, they're big, aren't they?
90s
How
medium.
big they were.
Thankfully.
It's like a large, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Maybe I'm not getting bigger. It's just that the
Shirts
Shirts
are getting smaller. Fashion's getting smaller.
Yeah, fashion's just getting smaller.
Yeah, I would say, like we were saying earlier on about, kits that we were saying off camera, we were saying, you had to rescue one kit from your collection, what would it be? I think mine would probably be the black Man United Cantona shirt. And then I think followed closely by that.
Closely by this,
Yeah,
Did Gascoigne wear that?
he did, yeah.
Must have worn that.
That's
mustn't
nice as well.
he? Yeah.
Yeah.
The shorts were nice as well. I remember the shorts with that.
You didn't get hold of that shirt unless you went to Italy on holiday.
That was
Which
the way
wasn't
then, wasn't it?
available.
Yeah.
I remember my uncle
Yeah.
went to Orlando and I got him to buy me an Orlando Magic shirt and the shorts. So it's the only way you could get them then.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
With your Penny Hardaway,
Yeah.
Stutty.
I made more pair of trainers that were close to, it was them days. And it was Penny
You
Hardaway.
talked about this before.
Have I?
You
Penny
know,
Hardaway
first
ones.
trainers in
Oh, was it
Tesco.
not? So
You
yeah.
said-
So
you said-
yeah. So they'd reissue anyone by Ballon. But yeah, so weirdly, Orlando Magic coming up twice in 2 days is
Yeah.
quite a rare thing.
Yes.
But listen to our On the Hardwood podcast coming out next year. Is that okay?
Good name.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, here we go.
There you go.
Number 2. By the way, these are beautiful.
Thank you.
Tell me where you get them from.
Off camera or?
Harry Brown, as it
Harry
goes.
Brown
Yeah.
London. Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hellfire. Here we go.
It's a fucking
It's
great.
got the lot.
Yeah, it has, isn't it?
It's a Euro 96 England.
You forget about that blue, don't you?
Patches.
But even with this, look at the branding and on the badges and everything.
Yes, it's got the fair play, UEFA fair play, rather.
UEFA.
Yeah,
Badge.
UEFA Fair Play.
What's the other side?
badge.
Oh, the
Or just
the
the
Euro
Euro
96
96
logo.
logo's good,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Which is
Yeah.
love. God, how thick it is as well.
Yeah.
It would be plastic now, wouldn't
You'd
it?
be,
Yeah.
you'd be all right with it.
And Pierce on the back.
Outside
That's
today.
Stunning, isn't it?
one of the great fonts, I think, isn't it?
That
We
one-
I think it
we could
probably
dedicate
is.
an entire episode to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
pure
Yeah.
fonts. Yeah.
That is a great font.
We'll get Jose
It's
Font
just so instant.
Yeah.
It's just so instantly recognisable, isn't
Yeah.
it? The double,
Yeah.
the blue and the light blue, the dark blue.
I love, and you don't see it enough nowadays, a centre badge.
Yeah.
Who did it at the
Yeah.
World Cup? US home shirt? Which didn't quite look right in the end, but
Yeah.
maybe their away shirt. But I agree.
A lot of the international kits have made a comeback with the centre
Yeah.
badge. Obviously, England's had it recently in
Love
the
that.
latest Euros, but
The
bring it
number
back.
is. It's not too. It's bigger, isn't it? But as in, it's not.
Yeah.
It isn't too. When you look at it, it's amazing.
it's
But
got that almost American football.
yeah, there is a different size. There's a different size to it, and it's sort of off the page.
It's the varsity font.
So it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Anyway,
Great shirt.
getting
Nice.
lost in it.
Just screams that pen, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And he screams after that.
He truly, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Lovely shirt. And Davey, you've also brought a shirt along.
Yeah, well,
with
just
you, a
because
new
it's
release.
obviously it's been heavily on social and everything else. Obviously, the new release, which is the Italy
They're back.
home shirt. Now we have ordered the away as well, but the delivery man decided to do it in 2 shipments, so we haven't got that to hand as well. But the table, ironically, looks exactly like the away shirt.
It does.
Yeah,
It's
can't
really
you
good.
do?
That's it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yes.
it's actually worked out quite well. But yeah, I brought it in just to, I guess, get opinions really. What's the thinking about the shirt? Because
Some
I
nice
think
detailing on it. The flag down, the flag trim down the. How do you describe this? Side.
the side hem,
The side hem.
Do you know? No.
Yeah.
One of the people here from Harry
There's a
Brown.
lot as well, actually.
Yeah.
there's some really nice detail
that's
over
nice
it.
on the
Obviously,
back.
this is not the player
Yeah,
issued ones.
yeah,
Obviously, there's
yeah.
lots of nice fine things to that, but
It's quite
you know,
nice detailing with
working
the.
to a budget and all that.
How do you describe that sort of effect on the front?
The marble.
Is it marble as well?
Yeah,
I suppose so, because the
toned
white one's
down
much
marble.
marble,
The
isn't it?
white
It's
one
in
is
blue,
brought
isn't it?
out.
Yeah. No,
Do they? Is there a certain? When did they go to Adidas? Would this have? Do they go to the? Do they make one for the World Cup even though they don't go? I know they're not there in
Well,
2022.
they're now with the contract. with.
So I wondered whether this is
so-
made for then,
Maybe
and then they get it out now to then sort of reissue it because it's got the no. Maybe they're all doing that.
I guess
now.
it will
I
be.
don't think-
It'll be used for the qualifications, won't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then,
Yeah.
it'll be another kit for by the time World Cup comes up. But I guess you've got the Euros first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
good. It's
I'm
good.
all right
I
with
like
it.
it.
I
I'm surprised that I like it because when I first heard that they were doing it, I was like, that shouldn't be allowed,
go on.
and I don't know why. I've just never associated the two together.
Do you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. And there's been a lot of the feedback that we got on social was it should only ever be Diodora.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is
We were
interesting.
talking about this earlier, weren't we? Should international teams only wear their manufacturers from their own country, which would be great
100%.
for us, wouldn't it? Because we'd have it.
Yeah, that's. But we were also with the Scottish geezer earlier. He was really struggling, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that sense of
Yeah.
I think when they bring out an all block blue one, it will look amazing.
Yeah.
But I hope they also do it with the old badge.
But the badges.
That badge is bad,
is a
isn't
letdown.
It's
yeah.
just I think that's been the common
badges
opinion.
in the past.
Because they're doing the semi reissue stuff, and it didn't click twice. We sent it around a group we were in. And the Palavar said, "I don't think I can get behind it," and it fucking looked amazing. It was white, had like the tricolor on there and whatnot. But what he was saying was, it looks just like the old Nike gear. So it feels even 2 or 3 decades later. Not this, sorry. They're doing some reissues. So they're using the old badge.
Right, yeah.
They're using. I don't know if they're using a trefoil, but they're using and it's like a bit of the chunkier, like almost windbreakers.
Yeah.
And so it is Maldini. It's
There are
96.
touches of that
Yeah.
Nike with the gold, the gold trim around the neck and the.
Yeah.
I
And
love
so,
that.
I mean, I can get behind it, but it was interesting that he was like
White
too much of a
and blue.
The white's
purist.
amazing.
Yeah.
That whole
Era.
there's that, and then you go to from that, which they look quite baggy. So then they go to the Euro 2000, where it's that skin tight Kappa
That
stuff.
Kappa, yeah.
What was that template called? It had a name. That style.
I don't remember,
It had
did it?
a name.
Yeah.
It was like. I can't
remember what it's called. It's done by quite a famous designer. It was always
really?
given that
Really?
extra thing about the whole either offside or being pulled as
Yeah.
well. There's a whole
Really,
thing
yeah.
about it.
But yeah, the badge is a disappointment. I think Italian United badge.
But I think they'll come good. There'll be some great bits for that. They'll look after it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been saying this, but it does look like a Leicester shirt. With that, if you take away the hem trim,
all right.
it does
Yeah.
look very Leicester.
Yeah, it does.
And I think the shorts are blue as well, aren't they? Is that right?
I'm not
seen
sure.
shorts.
Yeah,
Not seen
somebody we
shorts.
know who we follow on Twitter was absolutely appalled
Yeah.
by it. So it absolutely ruined his day, which I thought was a tad over the top. I'm not even Italian.
I get it.
Anyway, yeah. Right, I've got a little quiz. And I have ripped this idea off. Okay, don't cheat,
Yeah.
because the answers are on it. And so the way it works is this, all right? There isn't a prize, but maybe there will be a prize.
The Slowly Colin quiz.
Depends on where you
I'm
do.
terrible at these types of things. I'm just going to stall. So
Well, don't. Well,
That's what we're saying.
Embarrass yourself, because this is your job. You work in this arena.
Should they?
Actually, it's not actually about football. Right. So we talked right at the start. We talked about one of the most infamous suits ever associated with football, Liverpool, Manchester United.
Right, I know it's
What I want you to do is in a round robin. Is that right term? Anyway, we'll go round, and you basically have to tell me who played. I need a pen actually.
Oh, God.
Hang on a minute. Let's do that again. Hang on, no, we'll carry on. Just carry on talking about yourself. Okay, so the quiz is this, right? I'll go around in turns.
Yeah.
Start with you, and you've got to name me. You've got to say a player who was either in the starting 11 for either team, United, Liverpool, 1996 FA Cup final, or on the bench, or you can have the managers as well.
do you have to alternate between the teams? So if he says
No.
Liverpool, he has to then go to United.
Cool. So just anyone.
Okay, so any
Anyone you
player.
like. You've got 3 subs.
Yeah.
So that's 14, 28, 30. You've got 30
Yeah.
players to get. You can. You've got,
We
how
could be
many
here for a
lives
while,
am I
couldn't
giving
we?
you? I'm going to give you
I
one
don't.
life.
Do you know what? I
One
don't
life
think we will be.
I'm going to give you one life to start with.
Yeah.
If I think you're doing really badly, you might get another go. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, Lewis, go.
Jamie Redknapp.
Correct. Merce. Stop
How many did
cheating.
you say?
You keep cheating.
I'm sat next to you, so it's hard for me to tell you. Peter Schmeichel.
Peter Schmeichel, he's correct. Davey.
Gary Neville.
Yeah, no, he came on. He was on the bench.
In off the post.
I think he came on after they scored, possibly, or very late in the game.
Yeah, he
so
did.
He's lucky.
He came
there.
on towards the
You're
end.
lucky.
Ryan Giggs.
Was Giggsy there? He was. Giggsy was there.
David James.
David James, yeah.
2
Correct.
keepers out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's get right away.
Cantona scored the goal.
Eric Cantona, correct. Captain that day.
Stephen McManaman.
Stevie Mack started. Yes. He was sort of quiet. Anyway.
Would they have had sub goalies?
What, that would have come on?
No. Oh, is it
on the bench.
Is it players that have got to come on, or can you have people who are just on the bench?
Just on the bench.
Oh, fuck, alright. Yeah.
Anybody you like. That's a really good. It's a bit interesting on this.
Because I think I know who the 2 keepers would be from that era.
I'm going to give you a tip. I'm going to give you a clue here. There was one sub goalie.
Between the 2 teams?
Yeah.
Is it like in hockey where he comes on 3-1?
Yeah.
Who would have?
Unless my Wikipedia went wrong, there's only one.
I'm going to go Steve Bruce. Not as the goalie, just as
There you go. Steve Bruce. Hang on a minute. Steve Bruce did not play.
Fucking hell.
Steve's left out. He was left out that season.
That's when he left, wasn't it, that year?
Steve Bruce, right. So Mercy.
That's why Cantona was
You've lost
captain.
the lies.
Gary Pallister.
Correct.
Yeah.
Pally. He played.
So the left back's easy.
Yeah.
Stan Collymore.
Stan Collymore, yes.
Go back to my goalies.
Fuck.
It's either going to be Gary Walsh or it's going to be Tony Warner.
Who are you going to go for?
Gary Walsh, surely.
You're correct. It's one of those two.
One of those 2. I'm out. Look it on. Tony Warner.
Yes.
That was
I
close.
found the edge.
This is bad.
Oh, my
I've never heard
word.
of Tony Warner. Sorry,
Bloody
Tony.
hell.
It's a
Right
50.
on
That's a
the edge.
50-50. Who wants to be a millionaire moment? That
It was, wasn't it?
Texas.
Take
Dennis
that.
Owen.
Yeah, Dennis Owen. Solid. You can
Um,
have managers as well, remember? If you want.
Oh God.
If you're struggling.
I like getting the easy ones out of the way. So Alex.
Didn't handle that at all well. Anyway.
Roy Evans then. If we're getting that easy.
So we're actually including coaching staff and
I said
management.
that
Coach-
right at the start.
all the
Not
coaching
coaching
staff.
Yeah.
No.
Assistant,
dinner lady,
assistant,
right?
assistant. I was going to say. I was literally about to say that.
Maybe.
Assistant manager. Brian McClare. No, not even on the bench.
Not even on the bench.
I think that's when you start phasing out, isn't he?
Robbie Fowler.
Yeah.
Robbie
I think
Fowler,
we've
yeah.
still.
Hang on a second. Who's next?
Me, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. No more goalies. The goalies are gone.
Goalies are gone. Have we got any Liverpool centre halves
We've
yet?
talked about some of these people.
Yeah, true. We've got any Liverpool centre halves yet?
No.
Or any defenders?
Not really, no. You've sort of left the back four.
John Scales.
Back five, sorry. John Scales, yeah. Played for Ipswich, as you will all famously remember.
Did he?
David Beckham.
David Beckham, yes.
Yeah.
Stop looking.
I'm not looking.
Lish.
Rob Jones.
Rob Jones, yes.
If I want to say the Liverpool centre half, and I think Neil Ruddock.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
list.
it is.
It's not. It's where he didn't play.
He's out.
Which I'm really confused by because
Really?
he was definitely in the suit, wasn't he?
He's my next
So
guy.
he was. So he was in the squad, and then wasn't picked to be on the bench.
He's just turned up in the whistle.
Oh,
Fucking
he's
hell.
just allowed on the team coach.
So I felt like
Is
I
that
threw you under the bus
really?
because I said we've been talking about
Yeah.
some of these
So who would have been
Red herring.
their centre halves?
players. Okay, Davey.
Right back.
They play five at the back.
Did they?
Yeah.
Liverpool did.
That would no
Yeah.
United.
No, sorry, Liverpool played five.
Liverpool.
And Neil Ruddock didn't play.
He didn't play.
Beckham was on the pitch.
You said Beckham.
Yeah, no, I said if Beckham was on the pitch, I'm going to.
You're missing some
Paul
big-
Scholes.
He was on the bench.
He definitely plays
Yeah, I
in
can't
the year
remember if he
before
yeah.
when they lose 7 because there's that photo of him with his knob
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Paul-
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
He's already gone to Inter.
Paul Ince is.
Is it? Yeah.
Afraid not. Right, Merce, you're back in because these guys have lost a point each, and we've still got a few to go. Okay, so you've got two
That's the
lives
whole
now.
point of the
You've got
game.
2 lives now. You've got 2 lives.
Oh, right.
So back in.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just aiding Mercer to the win here.
I think he threw him under the bus for Neil
Yeah,
Ruddock.
he
That's
did.
all
what I
right,
did.
okay.
Is Andy Cole in?
Yes.
Yeah, he's bought that season.
Yeah.
Davey.
That was going to be my next one.
Well,
You're missing some big names. Central midfield, big names.
Oh, I know who's going to be one of them.
Roy Keane was injured, wasn't he?
You can't ask me questions. That's not how it works.
Roy Keane was injured that season. I'm going to go for Keane.
Yeah.
Yes.
West Ham.
He gets injured the next year at Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicky Butt.
Yes.
So Gary Pallister plays and Steve Bruce doesn't play. Who else are Man United playing at centre half
This is good. This is good.
Or right
logical
back.
thinking.
or right back?
Yes.
Gary Neville was on the bench.
Gary
So I've
Neville's
got
on
a
the
right
bench.
back.
It's going to be Paul Parker, isn't it? He's last year, maybe.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
No, he was at
He's
QPR
gone
that
at that
season.
point.
Yeah, he was at
He's
QPR. Because I was like,
he's
I was going to go for
left
Paul Parker, but he went to QPR at the beginning of that season. Is that right?
I don't know. I haven't got that much detail here.
Pretty
Right,
sure he
you'll
did.
go. You'll go.
I'm pretty.
I know who it's going to be.
Yeah, same.
Fucking hell.
I've just worked it out as well.
What, right back?
Who's going? Yeah.
Leave it out.
No, I can't fucking believe it.
I can't either. Yeah.
We've talked about a couple of these players actually.
Viale.
All right, mate.
Lots of love. Yeah, you're
Think about. I mean, you're missing a couple of Liverpool defenders. 3 actually, technically, sort of. You're missing a Liverpool central midfielder.
Was John Barnes there? John Barnes?
Was still there, yeah.
Captain of the
Yeah.
Well done.
David May.
David May.
He was right back.
And you know
Or
what?
was he centre half?
I'm
played centre
fucking
half.
fuming about
Yeah.
that because it's my favourite celebration of all time, and I think about it a lot.
What, the
They
team?
made the Champions League final where his dad tells him to get the seat.
Right.
He doesn't play. He plays 2 minutes in the whole campaign, I think. And when Schmeichel lifts it, he has a chair behind them to stand on. So if you look at any United celebration, it's David May with his arms like that.
In the
Just
Champions
in the
Champions
mall.
League,
Yeah,
yeah.
when
So
they-
think about him a lot.
Yeah,
Okay, I see. Right, okay. Davey.
I know the
I'm trying to
United,
think of the right
You've got
back.
United
United right back. I know it isn't. It's really fucked me off that they go with it.
You've got United sub. You're missing here.
Yeah.
Why are you showing it to him?
He's
I'm
out.
Oh, you are
I'm
definitely
the
out,
quiz.
eh?
Yeah, I got.
He's out. He lost his 2 lives.
Yeah, that. Unbelievable.
No. I would not have gone for him. You're missing three Liverpool defenders. We've definitely talked
I've
about one of
mentioned
them.
2 of them myself.
You've mentioned
today.
We said Phil Jones.
Phil Jones.
Is it Phil Jones at Liverpool?
Rob Jones.
Rob Jones, sorry.
Rob Jones is
Jones is
gone.
in.
United.
You're missing a United defender and a United sub. You're missing a couple of subs from Liverpool, one of whom we've talked about.
Well, Fowler was there, wasn't he?
Obviously,
Had him.
Had him.
McManaman said him.
Had McMahon, he's gone. Defenders, you've got Liverpool defenders,
Yeah, I think I
a sub winger and a sub striker.
Oh
for
yeah.
Liverpool.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Rush.
Ian Rush.
Is it? Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for that. Phil Babb. He's got to be there.
Phil Babb.
Yeah.
Cool, you did well, nice, actually.
He was
You've
gonna
only
be my-
got-
he was gonna be
there's
my
only
next one.
1, 2, 3, 4,
United
5
right
to
back.
go.
Yeah.
Davey.
I reckon I've got.
That United right back, you'll kick yourselves. It's mad that he started in this game.
Phil Neville.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
Yeah.
Phil Neville.
Yeah, he was moved on to the right, wasn't he?
Phil Neville.
Stinging your Bionaby.
Jesus. No, good
Is he
shout.
not?
Shout though,
Good
isn't it?
shout.
Unlucky.
Good shout. That's your second life gone.
It is.
That means you're out.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Did you go first?
Yeah.
So Davey's got to get this to win,
Davey's
otherwise
gotta
you're
get-
back in the game.
As if Bionaby's not there.
You've
As
got-
if I've said it.
Phil
Yes,
Jones,
you have,
mate.
come
So
on.
you got Schmeichel, Phil Jones.
Phil Jones.
You've got 4 players to pick from. 1
Sorry,
United,
Phil Jones.
3
Phil
Liverpool.
Jones. Phil Jones definitely wasn't there at Man United that
Four,
time.
yeah.
It's still there now. Schmeichel,
Where is
Phil
Jones?
Neville, David
Is it
May,
United?
Gary
Yeah,
Pallister,
yeah.
Dennis Irwin, Beckham, but
I'd give up on United. Unless you get the sub, I don't think you would. Who I don't think you get.
I'm genuinely devastated about that.
The sub?
Not getting the sub, yeah. 'Cause he's played an integral part of my life.
but Liverpool, you've got a player with these 2 of these players we talked about. Yeah, 2 of the 3. One of whom's a sub.
it's not a goalkeeper
Yeah, I think I.
at United. And on some bench, he's played an
Is
integral
it
part of your
United
life.
go with a sub goalie?
I don't
Yeah, that's
think-
mad, isn't it?
Classic Fergie. Got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, vindicated at last. If anyone's still listening.
It's not Kanchelskis because he was already at Everton. So I'm just trying
It's
to
got to be a
think.
time.
That, by the way, if you think of Chelskis at Everton, is a big link to the United sub. I'll tell you why afterwards.
We said his name already. Like David Beckham. Wasn't it? David Beckham was already on the pitch.
It's another link.
Another link to Kanchelskis.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hurry you up here because I'm not sure this is.
I don't actually have an answer. I don't think I have got one for a Liverpool either. Oh,
brings Lewis back in the game.
How many did you say left for Liverpool?
3.
Yeah, I can't call them defenders.
Said Colin Walls.
Yeah. Okay, you don't know. Right, that's your second line. Lewis, you're back in.
Should we draw it or yeah?
No.
Or...
No. Have you got it? If you haven't got it, we'll call it a draw. But if you have,
Oh no, I thought
That's
Lee
your
Sharp might be the sub.
yes.
Is it?
Fuck off! Really? You know what the link is to Kinchelski?
Yeah, we had a chance for a draw there. But
Lee
yeah.
Sharp. Lee Sharp is the one that dislocates Andrei Kinchelski's shoulder when he first goes to Everton. When they first
Oh,
play.
is it?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Put him out.
That's
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good.
That.
I'm
We've
devastated.
basically got 2 Liverpool defenders or a Liverpool.
That's what I'm disappointed with.
winger. And I'm gonna have to enforce some sort of time limit on this.
I couldn't.
We talked about one of them. Literally talked about maybe 2 of them. Defenders.
Oh, no, so it is.
Liverpool.
One of them is an
Stand
icon
out.
for another club.
Pele.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Good
Yeah.
shout. The sub, Liverpool
the
sub.
sub.
Yeah, he's very famous for doing something for another club.
Doing something for another club.
There's films about it.
Against Liverpool, funnily enough.
Oh yeah, I mean to see fucking Benfica as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Him and Mark fucking
It's
Pembridge.
out of mind blank.
All right, mate. Well, Lewis, what place you
Is it Mark Thomas? Yeah.
Rise on the way.
Scratch that. Oh, fab, yeah.
Right, so you could have had
Was it Mark Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas was the sub for Liverpool. Obviously scored the goal for
Yeah.
Arsenal
Right.
at Anfield. Jason McAteer.
Jason McAteer.
Oh, definitely
And-
should have had that.
See, I told you I'd get
Mark
him right,
Wright.
mate.
Mark
Mark
Wright.
Wright.
Do you know
Wright.
what? I got confused whether we'd mentioned like, with Rob Jones and Mark Wright. I was like, well, I presume
See,
because
I
we
told
mentioned
you-
him
I
so
told you
much.
I'd
Yeah.
That's
That
what
whole
the
Liverpool
memory bank.
defence, they could all just be each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scales, Wright, Rob Jones, they're all fucked the same person in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, well done. Good effort, Lewis.
Cheers.
You
Thanks,
were
fellas.
giving it
I
a big one
appreciate that.
beforehand about how you're going to struggle because you were.
Yeah, I really did thought so. But
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
realise how
yeah.
bad everyone else was
Yeah,
being. to be
yeah.
honest. Yeah, same.
Right,
You thought
right,
you were
we've
worried.
got-
Patronising.
Oh, well,
We've got to look into what happened to
No.
Neil Ruddock.
Loving.
Yeah.
Why is he in the
He's
suit?
definitely in the suit.
Yeah.
But
Who?
Yeah, Neil Ruddock is wearing the suit, but
It must be a match day squad, and then you pick your final.
You're just not putting a goalie on. What if
I know.
who's going to go in net?
Pally.
I guess that was.
Yeah, I reckon
was
so.
that-
Yeah.
Ah, straight away. Do you
Big
reckon?
unit,
Yeah,
big
good boys.
unit.
That was
Yeah.
a dilemma back then, though, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Rooney.
Like you went, it's always they've gone without a goalie.
You're right, 'cause on Football Manager you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that all changed
You do
with
now,
Neil
yeah.
Warnock and Philly Agielka because he said he was as good as any sub goalie he's ever seen.
Seriously.
Yeah. That's why Sheffield United
They never
in
used
that
to.
era never had a sub goalie because
Really?
Phil Jagielka
Oh,
was
there's
there.
that video
Really?
of Warnock, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Where he's talking. They get a draw at Millwall or something,
Yeah.
don't they? And he's talking Jagielka, and he's like, and then he's taking the piss out of who's the goalie they had?
Paddy Kenny.
Paddy Kenny, yeah, he's taking the piss out of really like.
It's always him or Patrick Keelty. I never get. Hey, both
Don't get me
keep
started on
it.
Paddy
Yeah,
Kenny.
let's not go over old ground again.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah.
All right, cool, brilliant. All right, that was good fun. Thanks for that, chaps. Good discussions on football fashion, and congrats to Lewis on the quiz.
Wow, yeah, it was
Fantastic
amazing.
effort.
I feel like it was a shared.
Yeah,
trophy,
yeah,
though.
Right,
Yeah,
right, you
yeah.
can
Like the
share
charity
that.
shield in the
Charity
old
shield,
days,
yeah. Cool. All right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Thanks.